Penta was giving out sling blades like freaking candy in Halloween. Welcome back to another episode of Wrestle Capsule, where you're going to be getting your weekly dose of pro wrestling talk. And I'm your host, B. So welcome back to the show. We're going to be talking about Full Gear today, and we've got a lot to cover. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to be starting off with the 0 hour matches, and then we're just going to go from there. So let's start off with that 10-man tag team match between The Factory and the Best Friends. So I feel like this match was very fun. It was entertaining, and I feel like that was a great way to start off Full Gear. So yeah, there's some definite funny parts for me. I love when Best Friends was surrounding QT Marshall in the ring, and they were just taking their turns, just rocking him in his face. So when it got to Orange Cassidy's turn, he was taking so long that QT just fell out. He was done. There was no more. He couldn't take anything else. The audacity of the Factory to mock the Best Friends with, you got to give the people what they want. How dare you? I feel like QT and the Factory, they get no love, especially when they are up against the Best Friends. Like, they're a fan favorite, and I feel like they will always be a fan favorite. There were some highlights from this match that I do want to talk about in this episode. Just certain moves, I was just like, this is lit, yo. So one of them was when I think it was Lee Johnson, he did like a thunder bomb on Rocky Romero, and I was just like, yes, I love Lee Johnson. He's really good. One thing I will say is I wonder if, don't shoot me, I wonder if Lee Johnson and even Aaron Solo, for that matter, if them being under the Factory, if that's holding them back as solo competitors or not in AEW. You guys, let me know what you think about that. But I'm starting to see, like, the Factory isn't really moving forward, and I feel like they've just become glorified jobbers for, like, the rest of the roster. You guys, let me know. Like I said, let me know in the comments below what you think. But that's what I keep seeing. And I love when Orange Cassidy did that DDT on Lee Johnson. I just feel like this match was just very fast paced, and I love that. I was so surprised to see Danhausen not come out with the Best Friends, but when he did come out, that was even more unexpected. And for the longest time, I've always wondered why fans like Danhausen so much. I'm just like, he's always just throwing curses on people, and then whenever he is in a match, I don't know, he didn't really do it for me as a wrestler. But when he got in there in this match, I saw a Danhausen that I personally had never seen before. I was like, where the frick was this at? He was going in. He was tearing everybody up, and the crowd was going off. And I'm just like, wow, now I see why people like Danhausen. He's been holding on to this. That was that absolute treat for me. So in the end, the Best Friends did win, thanks to Danhausen. He did have a huge help in that. But overall, like I said, this match was super fun, and it was very enjoyable. So the next match that I want to talk to you guys about was I believe it's the Eliminator tournament match between Ricky Starks versus Brian Cage. So seeing these two in the ring going against each other gave me some, Team Taz nostalgic vibes. Like, these are the moments where I kind of miss Team Taz, even though I feel like Team Taz should have been bigger than it was, and it just seemed like the plan for that stable was bigger than what actually happened to it. In order for Team Taz to advance, they had to break up. Well, sad face, but it is what it is. But yeah, I definitely got those vibes when I saw those two in the ring. And it's funny that these two were having their match at Full Gear. these two were actually the catalyst to the deteriorating and breaking down of Team Taz. So I found that very interesting. Ricky Starks already had his feud with Powerhouse Hobbs, because this first started out with Ricky and Brian having their issues, and then it was just down to Ricky and Powerhouse Hobbs kind of being like his sidekick, and then that dynamic, that friendship, even though they say they were never friends, that broke down, and then it was like a complete like Team Taz dead. Even though Ricky Starks ain't never been no punk, he was getting freaked up by Brian for a little bit, but even with him having his injury, he did not disappoint at all. This little man, well, compared to Brian Cage, this little man was going. I have nothing but respect for Ricky Starks. The fact that this man started off as a heel, loved him as a heel, then he transitioned into being a face. Love him as a face. Like, not many pro wrestlers are able to do both and be successful in both. You know what I'm saying? So Ricky Starks winning this Eliminator tournament match was very important. Like, Ricky needed this win, especially after him getting freaked up on Rampage by Lance Archer with his back. No wonder he's injured. Like, but yeah, I feel like Ricky definitely deserved this. And I'm proud of him. Like, go ahead with your bad self, with your absolute Ricky Stark self. Now we're going to be having Ricky and Ethan going this week for whoever is going to be winning this match is going to go up against the winner or the new AEW World Champion. Yo, this Eddie Kingston versus Jun Akiyama match was good. It was very good. And I don't mean to say it surprisingly. Like, I always enjoy Eddie Kingston's matches. Jun Akiyama definitely gave Eddie a run for his money. And what was so beautiful about this match, I was getting a little misty-eyed, was this was a dream match for Eddie Kingston. Like, ever since I remember he was talking backstage with Renee Young, and ever since Eddie was 18, he always wanted to wrestle Jun Akiyama, and he got this opportunity. Toni gave him this opportunity to be in Full Gear for one of the 0 hour matches to wrestle in his dream match against Akiyama, and he was getting emotional about it. And Eddie is out here living his best life, living his dream. Like, even though he's not having a lot or if any championship opportunities, I'm sure they're gonna come in the future, but besides the lack of championship opportunities, he is out here putting on these really cool matches with these different type of wrestlers from different promotions, from different countries, different continents, all in the AEW space. And he's showing how, like, you put him against anyone, whether he wins or loses, he just always is able to put on such a good match, and people were so for him. And it was just so beautiful. In the end, Eddie did win against Jun Akiyama, and it was just such a cool experience. Even when Eddie, at the end of the match, bowed down to show respect to Jun in turn did the same thing, and then they hugged. And it was just, it was dope. I love that aspect when two wrestlers, even though they're each other's opponent in the match, they are able to show respect, especially with Japanese wrestlers and how different Japanese wrestling is from like the traditional American pro wrestling. So after the 0 hour matches, we just get right into it. So first match, cage match between Luchasaurus versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Oh my gosh, that was also a perfect way to start off the matches after the 0 hour matches. Like, oh goodness gracious, I don't even know where to begin with this one. Like, you got these two wrestlers, they were once tag team, they're once best friends, now they've turned enemies, and you can just feel the intensity, you can feel the tension. Like, you could cut the tension with a knife. And it was the storytelling in this cage match was legit. Even though Luchasaurus was throwing Jungle Boy around like dirty laundry, Jungle Boy, he has such heart. Like, just like Ricky Starks has heart, Jungle Boy has heart. And I'm telling you, like, I don't know, Jack Perry then stepped right out of the jungle because he's jumping up on this the cage, steel cage, like a lemur. Like, he's doing these crazy distant kicks. Like, he's like, oh my gosh, like, he started bleeding really bad. Like, it was just got bloody and nasty real quick, but it was so good. Like, chairs were involved, the table wasn't involved. Like, Luchasaurus had no problem choke slamming Jungle Boy. But when Jungle Boy climbed up to the very top of the cage and did an elbow drop onto Luchasaurus and was able to pin him for the 1, 2, 3, that was dope. Now, I'm wondering, is this feud over? I want to know, is it over? Maybe I'm the only one. I still want to see Jungle Boy and Christian go against each other. Now, it makes sense that Luchasaurus and Jungle went because, Christian Cage is still injured and Lucha turned his back on Jungle Boy. So I get that. But I mean, in the back of my mind, I'm always going to be like, what could have been? Now, this Trios World Championship match between Death Triangle versus the Elite. First off, the song that they came out to, it's one of my favorite songs. Reason, because we sung it in my glee club in college, and like, it will always have a special place in my heart. So when the Elite came out with the "Carry On My Way," like, I was going off because of the song, not because of the Elite. I'm kidding. I was excited. Originally I was like irritated by how this came up to be, for us to find out that the Elite were going to be the ones that were going to be challenging Death Triangle for the Trios World Championships. Like, I was just like, this is what we do. But I moved past that because, we gotta live, we gotta learn, we gotta grow. And I was just like, okay, all right, this is cool. This is pretty cool. The FUCM Punk chants were very surprising. We're gonna move past that. We're definitely gonna move past that. I'm not even gonna give any minutes to that. You guys make your own assumptions. Did hear welcome back chants. That was inevitable. Seeing Kenny Omega and Pac go at it, so dope. And the reason why is because it makes me remember, I'm looking at my notes, I think it was the Iron match. Yes, the Iron match that happened in 2020. I think it was February 2020, between Pac and Kenny Omega. How dope that match was. And I need to see these two have a single match again. It's been far too long. And it's crazy having all 6 of these men doing this match. It brought me back to one of my favorite matches, one of my favorite pay-per-view matches. Oh my gosh. All Out 2021 cage match for the tag team championships. It was the Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks. That match, if you guys remember that match, let me know in the comments. One of my favorite matches. You guys, if you guys have been with me for a while, you already know that I love tag team matches. I love all matches, but I feel like tag team matches are my absolute favorite. And to see these two guys go at it all out last year, it was for the tag team championship. It was superb. But yeah, I'm getting off topic. Everybody in this match was shot out. It was so quick, I couldn't even keep track of who was doing what and where and how. That triple tombstone was crazy. Penta was giving out sling blades like freaking candy in Halloween. What I was surprised about was when Rey Fenix ended up using the hammer. Pac wanted to give it to him originally, like, no, I don't want to do it, but he ended up using the hammer on Kenny Omega to retain the Trios World Championships. And I was just like, you look at you dead, Pac. You done poisoned the Lucha Bros before. They weren't really into, cheating. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to win fair and square, but stuff was getting rough with the Elite. But what I love about it is the fact that the Elite didn't win. I feel like that was the smart move for the Death Triangle to retain the championships, because the Elite just came back off suspension. It will look a little weird, and it doesn't take away from the Elite because Death Triangle cheated to win. So like both parties both get something out of it. You don't piss on the Elite, but Death Triangle gets to keep the Trios World Championships. Okay, let's get into this TBS Championship match between Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose. So I'll admit, I was disappointed that Jade Cargill retained once again. So now I believe it's 42-0. She's still undefeated, still has the TBS Championship. She finally got her belt back, we see. But yeah, part of me wanted Nyla Rose to win. And I think I was talking about this before in one of my Dynamite episodes, where I was thinking, forgive me, I was thinking that Toni was testing to see how people would perceive Nyla Rose being a TBS champion. And everybody was for it. Everybody was into it as far as I remember, or maybe I shouldn't speak for everybody else, but the crowd was enjoying it. It was more entertaining, no offense to Jade, because you know she's fancy, but I might cut that out, probably not. But yeah, Nyla Rose was so much more entertaining with the belt than Jade Cargill, and it doesn't take anything much on a like shade Jade Cargill. It's just she's had this belt for so long. She's the inaugural TBS champion. No one else has had this belt but her, and she still has it, and it's getting a little bit old. She is getting better in the ring. There were some hiccups in the match, but you know, win is or not. But yeah, I was disappointed because all this buildup, all this entertaining segments of Nyla stealing the TBS and being the TBS champion, self-proclaimed TBS champion, and to have this ultimate match at a pay-per-view for her to lose. What was that for? What was it all for? Unless Toni he's grooming someone secretly backstage to become the next TBS champion to defeat Jade Cargill, to dethrone her, and to get to the TBS championship. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he has planned. Like, I feel like that was like a part of me already knew that she was going to retain, but another part of me was hoping that Nyla would dethrone Jade. Now, you guys already know I was not looking forward to this whole Ring of Honor World Championship match, this fatal four-way match between Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara, because I'm just like, you guys already know. I was like, this doesn't make any sense, so I don't even need to get into it. But the match wasn't bad, and I mean, for me, it was never a matter of, is the match going to be good or not? Because these four men are so talented. That wasn't the case. It was just the booking, the booking decision I was not for. So I was expecting in the match for them to pair off. Because hello, like two of them are in one group, two of them are in another group. But I love that moment where Claudio and Bryan, they're helping each other out in the ring. And they shake hands and they hold that hand for a while, and they're looking around the crowd and everybody's going off like, wait, are they about to fight? Are they not about to fight? Because they got Sammy out of the way, they got Chris out of the way, and then they started fighting. So I was just like, yes, realism, let's go. Like, even though you guys are coup de la, you guys are brothers in the Blackpool Combat Club, like, even so, this is still for the Ring of Honor Championship, Ring of Honor World Championship. It's still for the gold. We gotta do what we gotta do. It was funny when Chris was pinning, I forgot who he was pinning, but he told Sammy not to move. He was like, don't move, don't move, because Sammy wanted to pin, and like Chris kept saying that Sammy's gonna do the right thing. So I could tell there was something brewing there. Yo, Chris Jericho literally gave no F's when he lion salted both Bryan and Sammy and tried to pin for the 1, 2, 3. Like, he did not care. He was just trying to retain his Ring of Honor World Championship. But in the end, I knew that Chris Jericho, I made my prediction on that Dynamite episode that I did recently. I predicted that Chris Jericho was going to retain, and sure enough, Jericho retained the Ring of Honor World Championship. But I'm so interested to see. I'm not too worried about the Blackpool Combat. Well, actually, yeah, I am. I was actually about to say, I'm not worried about the Blackpool Combat Club, the future of them after that whole match. But I don't even, after the whole Regal thing that happened in the main event, like, I don't know, but definitely JAS is going to have some tension there with Sammy and Chris. So, man, we shall see. We shall see on Wednesday Night Dynamite what's going to happen with these two stables. Britt Baker versus Saraya. So proud of Saraya. It's been 5 years since this woman wrestled. And her first match is at a pay-per-view. A pay-per-view. And honestly, I have to give kudos not only to Saraya, but even more so to Britt Baker, because she had the huge responsibility of, one, making sure Saraya is safe, not doing any of those kicks from her back or any other stuff that could jeopardize her health, her neck and everything because of her injury. And then two, making sure that the match goes as planned, that her selling is right, that her move execution is right. So, I mean, there are a little bit hiccups, but they're just, I didn't even pay attention to that because in the end, like, the match was enjoyable. I was so looking forward to it. I was so looking forward to seeing how Saraya was in the ring. And I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. Like I said, I'm proud of Saraya. I love how Britt was doing every single thing that she could to come at Saraya's neck. It's so realistic. You know that Saraya's weakness is her neck. So as a heel, why not go for the weakness in your opponent so you can win the match? So I love that aspect. It was so funny. Like, she just kept going at that neck and I'm just like, girl, calm down. Let us talk about this TNT Championship match between Wardlow versus Powerhouse Hobbs versus Samoa Joe. So you guys already know I wanted just Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs, but I understand Wardlow turned his back on Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe felt a certain type of way, so he's like, I'm gonna turn my back on you, and now I'm gonna come for your belt. Was I expecting Samoa Joe to win the TNT Championship? So now he's a double champion. So now he has the Ring of Honor TV Championship and the TNT Championship. Was not expecting that. Does Samoa Joe deserve it? Of course he does. He was one of my favorite wrestlers in WWE, especially during the time where he had his feud with AJ Styles and his family was involved. I love that. But I feel like if you were going to give it to somebody, it would have been great for it to be Powerhouse Hobbs. He's been there from the get-go. He's been working hard. He has so much, this big man, he has so much skill, athleticism. He's a powerhouse, for lack of better words. So I feel like AEW is not utilizing Powerhouse Hobbs the way that he should be utilized, which sucks. It definitely leaves room for Samoa Joe and Wardlow to go at it at a pay-per-view. That is definitely a pay-per-view status match for the TNT Championship, but that leaves Powerhouse Hobbs in the rain with no umbrella, and I don't like that. So let's move forward into this no DQ, no count-out match between Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal versus versus Sting and Darby Allin. So I feel like this match was very sports entertainment-y, if you guys get what I'm saying. Tons of high spots, very fan-serving, very like boom, boom, boom. Like, it's kind of hard for me to explain it, but I mean, I feel like the best way is just very sports entertainment-y. I think the highlight for me was when Double J literally cracked his red guitar on Darby Allin's back, and then Darby got up like, that didn't hurt me none. Like, straight G with it. Even though Sting and Darby Allin winning the match makes sense. Where does that leave Jeff Jarrett? Where does that leave Jay Lethal? What are you going to do? Are you going to keep this going? Or are you going to put these two against somebody else? Or you already have someone else in mind? Like, what's going to happen next? And I have to say, Jeff Jarrett still got it. Sting still has it. There's no dispute there. But Jeff still got it. But I feel like it would be best for him to not be like a on-screen character. I feel like he would be more utilized. He would be better utilized either backstage or coming out sometimes. Like this, I don't know. I mean, it's even weird for me enough to say that he's in AEW because a little bit ago he was in WWE, but I'm not going to go through that whole thing again because I've already talked about it on one of my episodes. But yeah, either backstage or like come out sometimes, like not to be like a regular on-screen character. But I understand why they did it, especially with it being Darby Allin and Sting, because I know Jeff Jarrett and Sting have had their thing. They've had their issues in WCW. Like, I get it. I totally get it. It makes sense. But I feel like after this, they should kind of like move him back. You know what I'm saying? This AEW Interim Women's World Championship match. I got it now. AEW Interim Women's World Championship match. I just gotta say it slow. Between Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter. These two women showed up and showed out. Like, these two, I feel like they did the women justice with this match. This championship match was very good, no dispute. And it was crazy because Toni Storm was bleeding at the nose. Like, it got bloody. And I could tell that Jamie, like, she was oh my gosh, Toni was putting in the work to retain. Jamie was putting in the work to get. And this was a very strong match. Rebel coming in and interfering and hitting Toni while the ref wasn't looking. I mean, typical Rebel. But when Britt Baker was in disguise and came out and hit Toni with the hoodie on and everything like that, I was just like, oh gosh, oh, here we go. For her to win, very excited, very happy that she won. I'm so proud of this girl. Like I said, both of these women put on a show. I just don't like how it went down. Now I get it, they're heels, they cheat, lie, and cheat, and steal. Like, I get it, but I feel like all that work that Jamie put in to wrestle and fight for that belt, kind of like, You got Britt exposing the turnbuckle, Toni hits it, and then Jamie's able to pin for the 1, 2, 3, and I'm just like, I get that that's her girl, and Britt was out there talking about it's Jamie time, but I feel like that took a little bit away from it. Like, I get it, again, they're heel, but I don't feel like Jamie needed that. I don't, because she was doing the dang thing. She was putting in the work. I mean, Toni was out here bleeding from her nose, for goodness sake. So back to this whole Britt saying it's Jamie's time. It's nice that you're for Jamie Hayter, for her getting a shot at the belt and winning the belt, but I'm wondering how long she's going to want to stay second fiddle. Like, I'm wondering when Britt Baker is going to start wanting that gold again, or if she's going to go after Saraya and won't need to worry about it right now. Like, time's a ticking. And when are we going to get, wait a minute, is this leaving room for Jamie Hayter versus Britt Baker having a match for the AEW Interim Women's World Championship? The thing that I've always wanted. Now there's a belt involved. Yes, please. I hope it is. These two, like, it is not over between Jamie and Britt are going to butt heads at one point. Like, they throughout their whole friendship, they've been going at it like multiple times. So I mean, I don't doubt it not, especially since Jamie is a champion and Britt just lost her match against Saraya on the same night. So we will see. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I wasn't fully into the whole AEW Tag Team Championship match between the Acclaimed versus Swerve and Our Glory. Not that it sucked, because it didn't suck. The only thing that got me going was when Swerve and Keith were kind of bickering, and Swerve was getting frustrated, and he slapped Keith Lee like you slap your tag team partner. You guys are in the match of your life, not your life, but your life, to regain the tag team championships. And you slap your partner. What makes you think that your partner is going to want to stick with you and continue to fight to regain these titles? The perfect response from Keith. I thought he was going to like rough him up and throw him somewhere, because he could. He's that big. But no, he said, you know what? Deuces all which way, you figure it out on your own. Walks up the ramp and just watches. I thought he was going to go in the back. No, dude was at the top of the ramp just watching. And the match went from a tag team match to a handicap match. And Swerve got freaked up by Max Caster and Anthony Bowens. And it was just done. And the Acclaim was able to retain. Now, I think that was pretty cool that Daddy Booty Cheeks, Billy Gun Gun, didn't come out with his adopted sons, because he didn't want to take away from it. And it was funny and cool that he did end up coming out to get a little payback on Swerve, but that didn't last very long. And in the end, there's no underhanded cheating involved. It's just Swerve ruined it for himself. He cost his tag team the championship. They could have won, but they didn't, because he wanted to go out slapping people. So I'm assuming after this that Swerve and Our Glory is dead. There better be some apologizing, some making up, because even when Swerve and Our Glory was coming out and Swerve trying to do the pound with Keith ain't trying to hear it. Like, Keith was already in a mood. And I mean, like, there's already tension there. There's always tension there. I've been telling you guys from the get-go, like, I don't like this tag team. They need to be single competitors. They are single competitors. Let them grow. Let them flourish by themselves. But Toni gonna do his own thing. So hopefully this means Swerve and Our Glory is done. The AEW World Championship match between Jon Moxley versus MJF. The match I was waiting for. Was enjoying Full Gear, but I was thinking about MJF and Moxley. Like, come on. Wanting to know if MJF is really going to get this belt or not. If he does, how is he going to do it? Like, was he going to cheat? Was the heelness going to be strong or not? And there was a few things. Well, actually, there were multiple things that were surprising to me with this championship match. One of them being, people were booing Jon Moxley. So he's like heel? Like, did he turn heel right before our eyes? So he's heel, or maybe he was always heel. I don't know. The dynamic of Jon Moxley is so complex that I can never figure it out, which is okay. Jon Moxley is another one of those pro wrestlers who's able to be a face and a heel and do both of them successfully. So I think he turned heel. I'm thinking. You guys let me know in the comments what you think. But yeah, people were booing the shiznit out of Jon Moxley. And Moxley was embracing it. And I'm just like, yep, heel. Yep, identify, heel. What was crazy was when MJF did the tombstone on Moxley. And that tombstone hurt MJF more than it hurt Moxley. His left knee got all freaked up. And of course, Moxley took advantage of that and started freaking up that knee every chance that he got. Like, this match, I was like, oh shoot, now MJF, like that knee. And then Jon out here doing power drivers through tables. Then doing a figure four lock on MJF with his knee in the ring. Like, what I was not expecting was for William Regal to slip MJF knuckles, the brass knuckles, and he hit Moxley and was able to pin for the 1, 2, 3 and gain the AEW World Championship. So now MJF is officially champion with the help of William Regal. I guess that means William Regal sees that MJF has what it takes. And he sees something in him. He's just like, yep, I'm going to help him. We're going to see this through. And left Moxley out in the desert by himself with no water, no air, AC, no nothing. So that is going to be interesting. That's why I said earlier in this episode, I was just like, I don't know about the state of the Blackpool Combat Club, because Regal out here turning his back on Moxley, and then you got Bryan and Castagnoli going after the belt, but I don't think that's gonna bother them too much with their dynamic. But yeah, stuff's tearing apart with that stable. And then like, man, so is William Regal going to be coming out with MJF now, or was this a one-time thing? Or like, I got so many questions, and I love that. I feel like that's such a good sign. That is how you do it. So I feel like that the way that went down in that match was very clever. I did not think that William was going to do it. Very surprised. Very surprised. So guys, let me know in the comments below what you thought about Full Gear. Did it live up to all your expectations? Did it exceed it? Was it below it? Like, you guys let me know like you always do in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more episodes. Thank you so much for watching. Signing off. Bye.